Hi everybody, the Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to this is week 30. We are now scheduled out through week 46 on the tour that takes us toward the end of August, just so you're aware of what season 11 is looking like. So this is week 30, as I've said. You can see at Hirschfelden Golf Club. It's the Saskatchewan Farms Classic, so we're going to get moving here. Did not qualify, really didn't come close last week. There were still thousands of people that tried. So there were, in fact, 1,975 people. They gave tour cards to 575 of them. And to get a tour card, and not everyone with this score got a tour card, by the way, but to get a tour card, to get on the Challenge Circuit L flight, which is the lowest level of the tour, you had needed to shoot 28 under. So yeah, pretty crazy. So I ended up tied for 1,820th. So, not too very wonderful there, but yeah, with 12 over. So, obviously, it was over 30, really probably, yeah, over 40 strokes worse than I needed to do. I would have needed to have dropped by about 10 strokes round. So, kind of crazy. So, I've got my work cut out for me for sure. I do think to some degree the qualifying will thin out over time. Perhaps not, but in 2K23 I had never seen crowds like this. And so yeah, there were over 2,000 people that played, but as far as people that finished all 4 rounds, so that'll give you an idea, you know, there's still 1,975 of them, the worst of which finished 138 over. You know, even in my worst days, I guess, I suppose that's one thing to be happy about. I don't know that I ever had a TGC Tours round that was in the triple digits over. I think I got into the 90s once. Almost certain I got into the 80s over, so basically averaging 20 over a round. At least I've been able to not do things like that. So also, before we jump in, just to get you up to speed, so obviously, yes, I am, while it may not look like it based on my play at times, I am always trying to improve. I'm always trying to see how to do better. So I did spend a little time this week watching some of the better players that I'm aware of playing 2K25 and trying to glean what they do, because the challenge is, just as you can't really walk up to Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods or whatever and say, hey, give me a lesson, nor do they sit there and play golf as a tutorial and explain to you what they're doing. And even if they did, it would be hard to probably replicate. So for all of those reasons, even in virtual golf, they're a little bit like that. So while yes, I was watching things from better players, they weren't doing it to teach players like me how to get to be like them. They were just playing their rounds. So I was just trying to figure out what they were doing, watching videos, you know, reviewing areas, trying to understand what was happening. So certainly going along with the shot strategy suggestion that had come along a couple weeks ago that I first attempted last event, and I'm going to obviously be continuing this event, it was just more depth of that. It was not only seeing how they made decisions or what decisions they made, because there were a couple comments here and there of, okay, I'm going to play a club back here because I don't like how tight the fairway gets, so I'd rather have a longer shot into the green but likely hit the fairway than go for a really difficult target. So there was that. I also observed while they get more all four perfects than I do, it is still a struggle even for those at the highest level who are in the elite range and so forth. So the master difficulty is still difficult, and on whatever levels they'll end up in, I think it gets even more difficult because they take away a few of the aids we have here on the challenge circuit. But you'll see some of that. I guess I won't explain much, and we'll just kind of talk about it as I play. But then there was also a shot type I was unaware of, and I thought maybe, I might have to work one of the other archetypes and get to level 85 and unlock it, but I did not. And that is something called the Super Flop, which I know I probably had seen, but that was something I had not unlocked. But that has actually been helpful for close play, short game play near the green, because it's basically got the same distance as a chip, but it's obviously going way up in the air, just kind of sticking when it lands, bouncing maybe a few feet or something. Obviously, if it lands on a heavy slope or something, I'm sure it would roll, but I think you'll understand. So you'll start seeing things like that, but basically it was exactly what was shared, which it would not have been rocket science to realize, and certainly I had realized it before, but give credit to the fact that folks did call it out. Like, obviously, the way to score well is to land close to the pin on the approach and then basically have a pretty easy time on the green. So that really that needs to be the goal as you're getting there. And so that's what I'm doing. The other thing that was intriguing, because I think I did have some folks say something about numbers being higher. I assume that means the yardage that they were seeing that people had on clubs or whatever. At least one of the better players, and again, I think on the qualifying event they ended up like 65 under or something. So they were up there. They felt they were going to qualify in elite, and I think they did, because I think I watched a little bit of their first round in the last event just to see where they ended up and so forth. But obviously at that point I had understood their gameplay because I had watched their 4 rounds of 2K25 qualifying and seen what they had done. But their driver range is the same as mine, 289. So I think it does depend on the archetypes people picked. I did the technician. I'm assuming that's what they had done as well, which is why they're at that level. They did not share what their archetype was or anything like that. If you get a powerhouse, yes, you might be able to hit over 300 like all the time as your base range. And so I think there were some people that are like, "Ooh, you need to get your numbers higher." I've got everything applied I can. This is as high as this is going to get unless I build an entire different character. But this has always been the archetype that works best for me. And the fact that someone was able to shoot 65 under in 4 rounds with very similar club distances to me and so forth, I think indicates it's possible to do that with the setup I have. So it's just a matter of getting my skill level as high as it can be to do all that. So really long intro this event, but just wanted to make sure that people were aware of what they're going to see differently. So there's going to be more shot type changes, because that's really what I saw with almost everybody. They didn't just stick with the normal approach or whatever all the time. They adjusted things. And, I was able to, I think, discern, like, oh, okay, the rollout is such and such, and this is what they want to do. I think the biggest aha moment for me was realizing that many times they were hitting far, far shorter of the pin than I would have thought, but obviously ending up close to it. So it's obviously understanding the type of rollouts you're going to have with different shot types that I think is what's important. And that's, I think, going to just take some time to get to understand that a little bit better. So let's jump in here and see what this first round turns into. 4 tee boxes, as is normally expected. We're never going to see the red, probably not even the gold. May not see anything but the white. But now you see what that is. Fairways and greens are firm. It's always intriguing. It's hard to remember a time when they're not the same as default conditions. So I just don't know if course designers just are like, they just don't think about it and change that, or what it is, or but they're almost always the same, whatever they are. So but we always want to check just to understand what we're facing. And green speed is medium fast with a flat 7. So white tees, first pins, low wind. Green speed is still moderate, but so even though it doesn't say default, it probably is similar. So let's head in here. Alright, so before we get going, as you follow along, please consider liking and subscribing. That is important to the channel. Alright, so got a little bit of rough. You're just trying to get a lay of the land here. Doesn't look like a lot of trees, so there should be some hopeful possibilities here, but we have a long par 5 to start out on this. And again, now you can see the shot type, so that's what I'm talking about. Underneath the club where it says driver in the bottom right, it says tee shot. There's different shot types you can pick, and there will be more of that than I've done before based on what I've seen. And then again, I played 3 or 4 rounds on master difficulty level in another online society just to kind of test things out, get used to it. I can't say it improved my scores immensely, but I can see the reason that it would be good to continue to play that way and get good that way. So that is what we'll be doing. So it's not any panacea or any magic bullet that is suddenly going to drop 12 strokes off every round or something. So I don't want to set some crazy expectation. I do think, given that the best players I was able to look at play similarly, it would seem that's the thing I should get used to learning how to utilize properly. A little to the left. Ooh, more to the left than I thought. We're in heavy rough. Alright, but we're only down like 10%. Alright, so again, we've got plenty of space here. It's not going to roll out very far because, first off, it's not going to get anywhere near that far because of the lie. We're going to lose 15% or so. Alright, and not bad on the straightness. I'll say. I was going to say accuracy, but but it ends up in the fairway, which is important. Okay, so if I go up here, all right. So I think I'm going to pull it back some because it's pretty flat. We've got a bit of a lie. And this is where it's different than I would have done. I'm leaving a lot more space for the rollout. Oh, that was weak. That was weak. I didn't swing hard enough, and it said underswing. So you can see, yeah, not what I wanted. I think the pick is going to be too short. So, not in a good spot to begin with here. Alright. Ooh, a little further than I would have liked, but we're nearby. Ooh. If I get this, that would be lovely, but this will not be easy. It's a good attempt. Good attempt. Alright, pretty straight on. So, get ourselves a bogey to start. Pretty standard garbage for me. I see Mikey Angelo, his name pop up there. Alright, so this is suggesting a 3-wood. That's the driver. Very, very tight landing zone. If I land, I'm guaranteed to roll in there. So I'm going to stick with the 3-wood. It's up in the air, and it's likely going to hit that fairway and just die. You know, but that again is not that I wasn't thinking about it, but I'm like, you know, let's just grip it and rip it and go. But that's not playing golf appropriately. I mean, again, when I'm on a course, I certainly wouldn't just be doing that. I absolutely didn't pull out the biggest club I could think of. You know, I was just trying to get used to things. All right, so now I'm up 20 feet. I'm going to go up a couple clubs. Now this is one of those, because the regular approach has a roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to choked approach. And that I saw a lot of usage of, because that way it just kind of stays where it lands. Again, assuming it's executed well, and I would say other than the slight pull, that wasn't too bad. But see, there's still a roll, but it's not insane, and it doesn't come in with a ton of speed. So it does slow the roll down, but it does take off some yardage as well. All right, this is downhill. Come on. Ah, so close. All right, put a par. You know, and the thing was, like, when I did do the test rounds, and it wasn't on this course, so let's be clear, it was something else. I think it was on Combi, which was the course that was the 2K25 event. Watching the player who ended up in Elite 65 under, they definitely were very vocal about how difficult the course was, and saying that for challenge circuit players, like, this is going to be a nightmare. So I don't know, the fact that I shot a 29 over might have not been terrible, given, you know, that the best players in the game were like, yeah, this is a hard course. I think the first round he played, he still ended up, I think, 6 or 7 under for that round. And then I think he ended up like 15 under the next round, or maybe even 18 under. But that first round, he struggled, and I think he made the comment, he landed in the fairway once and ran out. So, you know, courses do make a difference. Alright, not bad. 300 and... oh, it's like went lower. Interesting. It was like 308, but then it went to 306. Now this is difficult. Alright, so I think I'm going to do this, but do a choked approach. So I'm going to go up, and that will help with hitting the small target. We've definitely got a big lie there. Too far to the right still. Shoot. It was a good attempt, but not what I wanted, so... this will probably be, yeah, flop, almost. I'm going to go up 1. I may regret it, but we're going to give it a go here. Oh my gosh. That was awful. I don't know what happened there. I took a normal swing. At least I thought I had. Wow. Oops. Let's see, do I want to do the super flop versus the flop itself? Okay, why is the flop not right next to it? I think I'm just going to go with the flop. Alright, and that worked. But again, I'm unfortunately shooting for a bogey here, because I could not... oh no, no! I could not get the part to go down. But yeah, not getting a good swing definitely doesn't help. All right, we're at a par 5 again, 600 yards. Hitting left more than normal, but I'm also like consciously thinking about making sure I hit the swing plane. Again, this may be a poor choice, but I don't think so. Because we've got a pretty solid landing area. And, you know, we got 244 out of it, where otherwise we would have been below 200. We would have been far, far shorter. 10 feet up. I'm going to go up one club. But because of it being up in the air and all that, I want a little more roll. I'd say that was decent. But yeah, basically, you know, the feedback and part of, again, what it was clear to see is play this as if you're playing real golf, you know, real golf. Like, make the same type of decisions. Don't be like, oh, I'm playing virtual golf. Ooh. All right, so let's see. If I do a choked tee shot, that doesn't really lower it that much because we're downhill. I don't know that I can do a partial power tee shot. That's going to be interesting. I kind of could, but man, did I screw that up trying to do that. So one would say maybe not the best choice at that moment. But obviously, you know, I'm really close here. What do we do? I'm going to put some backspin on it. Too far off the other side. All right, so this is where the super flop then comes in nicely. See, because it just boop, and it just died. So that was a shot I really didn't appreciate until I saw and the gentleman use it a lot. And I'm like, oh, like this is a shot I need to give a shot at. Not trying to be funny or anything, but all right. So we're just, and again, as opposed to picking a club down, which is what I always had done, and then playing with some distance, I'm just choking the shot, and that should be enough. Still too far to the right. But yeah, distance-wise, not bad. Ooh. So this is hard because I struggle. I mean, the spinner, maybe, but I don't know. Ooh, way too far, way too far. And this will probably now be a super flop again. Yep, right there. But that's a bogey. I mean, it's a better round than I would probably be having otherwise. But it's not great. All right, so basically it's the same view either way. So I'm going to go ahead and go for some distance here. Oh, now we're going to go to the left, which is not what I want because the bunkers are over there. I didn't actually get far enough distance. All right, so pitching wedge. All right, and we're going to do the choked approach. And with the distance down, ooh, just didn't have a good spot there. All right, now this I want a regular flop, but I gotta be careful. Ooh, probably too. Oh, We got 93%. I was going to say it might be too little. And maybe? All right. That's big. You know, the putting game is still important. Obviously, if I can get closer, but you can see there are people that are 15 under. So, and again, I would have the normal folks. Ooh, what do we do? So the Stinger doesn't get as high in the air. I've not tried it for something like this. I'm going to give it a shot. I don't think it's really what I want. I've shot it once, but you can see it's just like a beeline. Almost had enough to get up there, so I suppose in its own way it was interesting. All right. That was good. All right, we got a par, so... Because, yeah, I think it would have been really hard for me to accurately hit that green with the options that I had. Yeah, there's not... It does get thinner, but the wind's at me. Yeah, I think this is a good call for me here. Ah! I'm not, like, way open. Alright, I ended up on the fairway, so I got a good bounce off of it. And again, I hate when I'm shooting this, because if I don't hit it far enough... we're going to end up in the bunker. What? I don't know. Maybe I should have just gone the whole way. Alright, not bad, but now I'm grinding for a par. And we're not going to get it. Golly. So that ends up being the challenge, is basically I still have to be able to convert. So, you know, again, I'm on pace for 8 over, which is better than what I normally do. I mean, obviously I ended up 12 over the entire round last time, so obviously I really was right around 4 over for the round. Alright, it'll end up okay because I kind of really had a giant hook on it. Alright. So we're down. This will definitely be a choked approach on this. More right than I wanted, but it might. It bounced out, but kicked too hard. Alright. And this really doesn't... Like, it's really hard to get extra yardage out of a super flop. I thought, like, oh yeah, I'm like this, I'll go 16. Now I ended up like 3 or 4 yards away. So I think this is... I want to go the full amount here. Oh, terrible shot. When you have that weird off-balance thing. I mean, it works because it's a par 5 and I got there in time. But, you know, there's still a vast difference between me and a really good player in just how things lay out. Alright, we're falling 10, we're going down 15, so I'm gonna choke up again and lose those couple extra yards. Not bad. Alright, we're on. Wow. Holy moly. I don't know what I want to do here. I think I want to be gentle, but I'm worried I'm not going to make the hill. Alright, I think that's probably as good as I could have gotten. that was a crazy green. But again, the big thing is, I don't know. I think I did bogey one par 3. All right, so I have the wind with me. So while that bunker is in the middle, I'm confident I can carry it. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I'm left of it anyway. Where did I end up? Okay, all right. So we're going to go with the flop all the way, and we're just full-throated swing here. Oh, I knew it was up in the air, but I really thought I would catch the edge, so, that hurt. That should be okay. It's a little further than I would have liked. So this is not an easy one. Come on. Thank you. Oh, I was like, you gotta come back, you gotta come back. And it did. See, now this is one. I think it's up in the air. Well, we're going to be way right anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, well, we hung up from going into the real garbage. All right, so a wedge. In theory, we're not losing a lot here. Interesting. All right, then I'm doing a lot of this for the lie. Probably not enough, because that was not a bad swing as far as execution. I was only off by 1.98 degrees, but clearly, all right, let's go up there. All right, good position there. And we're in. All right. So my weekly, don't know that I'll be able to do 50 because I'm not playing that many rounds as we go. All right, not terrible. All right, worse than I thought, but it ended up on the fairway. But we've got a really long shot. I'm going to stick right here because it will slow me down with the wind. A little bit uphill. It looks like the green is also sloping down. No, it's flat. All right. I think I'm over too far. All right, I think that's pretty good. A little further than I would have liked, but that's all right. And so again, I go with the super flop on these. And just kind of pop it out there, just like I did with the regular flop. Ooh, that almost was too hard and almost turned really ugly. All right. These are some long par 5s. This one's right up there at 600. Ooh. I mean, I hit it left. I didn't have a good swing. So again, now the issue is I'm not going to go as far. Yeah. I think this will work, but it depends on the bunker. We're clear of the bunker. So yeah, and that is kind of what I wanted. I wanted to have a good, where I could flop it on and have a good shot at it. Alright, that should be really nice. It is. Alright, another birdie on a par 5. So that's the thing, executing those. So yeah, I did bogey the one par 3. We've got 4, 3, 4 left. So that was my last big hole. Okay. Nice. That will basically be pretty straight on for me. You know, and it really does become, and that's where I think they do a really good job here. All right, so we're going to gain about 18 to 21 yards because of the wind. We're going to lose about 5. Or not 18. We're going to gain about 7 yards. We're going to lose about 5 because of the height. So this should. This is where sometimes this is where I guess I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna loft it a bit. I don't really need a rollout. I just need to get over the bunker is the issue. And we got a little bit of lie. And we're gonna be off to the side, which might save me from the bunker. Yeah, see, I think I might have caught the lip of the bunker, which would have been awful. We want up, but then it's gonna go down and roll is the problem. Pretty long roll. I think it's pretty straight on. Problem is I play with these and that's when they screw up, so I'm just not gonna take the temptation. Got me a par. Not wonderful, but not bad. All right. So we're going down what, 16 yards? That's more than I really would like, but I think it'll be all right. Because it should have some rollout. All right, this looks good. All right, well, not much of a rollout. I was wrong. Was a wedge. Nah, not even close. Not even close on so many fronts. This does not make this simple in any way. Oh, it's downhill, but it's not that downhill, dude. Alright, I gave that stroke away, probably. I mean, it would have been a tough putt either way, but... So yeah, the green's not super simple here. I mean, they're certainly not as crazy as I see sometimes, but... we might end up in the... No, okay. We're good. Alright, 30 feet up and wind. So we're gonna lose basically 15 yards. Oh boy. I'm gonna go there. No. I'm gonna go there and choked approach. We're gonna try this. Kind of in the right direction. I'd say that was pretty good. Alright, can we make it fall? I think so. So I think we got a birdie to end it. 2 over. Not marvelous, but when I was 4 over, or 3 over, yeah, 4 over, because I was going at 8 over is what I was trending at. When I was 4 over on the front 9, I'd say that was a good outcome for me. It's certainly not probably anywhere near what I need to qualify again, because I'm guessing we're going to still have people trying for a long, long time here. You know, solid, and I think you're starting to see a little bit of what I'm trying to get better at. I mean, a lot of it now comes down to, I mean, I'm sure I can find new skills, new things that will help as well. You know, I'll probably still watch some of the other elite players and see if I can discern anything from what they're doing. But a lot of this just comes down to being able to make the putts and things like that, where I've, you know, two putted somewhere where someone did not otherwise, or come up with a little, you know, better approaches while I've had a few good ones. You know, it's really having all good ones, you know, making everything a 10-foot or less putt if you can do that. But that is, you know, pretty elite on the play level, I'm sure. So yeah, the issue is just taking a quick look at the board. There's 594 participants, which again is a lot already. This isn't Sunday. This is Monday. So last time I played everything pretty early on Sunday. I'm just going to play one more round here, but sitting at 2 over, I'm tied for 464 out of 594, which still puts me well below the bottom half of the field, you know, and just makes things challenging. Worst score right now is 39 over. Then there's 3 folks at 18 over. So, you know, I could be significantly worse, and this all becomes a little bit of statistical distribution, so that's the thing. It's like, you know, there's 20 people, well, no, I guess like 15 people that are 10 over or more with the first round, and so that will help move the goalposts a little bit. But, you know, given that it was 28 under to just even get a card last time, par isn't going to do it. I would think to even have a long shot, I'd need to finish this event 10 under or more. And even then, I'm not sure that I'd be competitive with how folks have been shooting. Loving the play, loving the challenge. Hope you are as well. Hope to see you next time.